So today we're going to be checking out a new fragrance that was released within the past year. This one is called Halloween Man X. And this fragrance line, this fragrance brand is relatively popular. They're known for releasing some pretty good cheap fragrances, especially in their Halloween line. There's a few of them out there that have gotten a lot of talk in the community. I just recently checked out the note breakdown on this one. I thought it looked really fitting for the time of year that we're in. So in this video, I'm going to be reviewing this fragrance, tell you how it smells, how it performs, when you can wear it, and things like that. But real quickly, before we get into the video, first, I want to hear from you down in the comments. Let me know what you think of Halloween Man X. Have you tried this one? Have you wanted to try this one, but you haven't yet? And also, what do you think of some of the other fragrances from this line? This is the only one that I've personally tried and the only one that I own, but I'm pretty impressed with the scent. So maybe I'll pick up some more in the future if you guys want to see that. So let me know down below in the comments what your thoughts are on this fragrance or on any of the others. And the second thing is, if you're new here to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Also, turn on post notifications and give this video a like. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's go and jump into this review. So when I first spray this one on in the opening, what I'm immediately kind of reminded of is somewhat of like a bubblegum generic type of fragrance smell. And I'm talking about fragrances kind of like Invictus and Versace Eros. Just a little bit of a sweet bubblegummy type of scent. So I'll be honest with you, at first, this one really didn't blow me away. In the opening, I get a lot of tonka bean, which gives it a nice powdery smell. Along with that, just a little bit of whiskey. There's also some cinnamon in there, which gives it a little bit of a spicy touch. If you look on Fragrantica, coffee is listed as the most prominent note in terms of what people smell. And from the opening, I really don't get a whole lot of coffee. Again, it's mostly that tonka bean, some whiskey, and a little bit of a cinnamon spice. However, once we start to work into the mid and dry down, some of that coffee note starts to come into play. And along with that, I pick up on a little bit of a smoky leather accord. So this one opens up powdery and sweet, a little bit spicy, and it starts to dry down to something a little bit more smoky, a little bit more leathery, kind of goes a little bit more in the masculine direction. And it also starts to lose some of that bubblegum vibe that you get from the opening. So this one can kind of fool you a little bit because on first spray and when this first hits your skin, you're probably going to think that this is another one of those mainstream bubblegum, youthful smelling fragrances. But after it starts to dry down a little bit, it gets a lot better. So if you try this one for the first time and you want to scrub it off because it smells like a lot of other stuff out there, I would recommend to just give it a little while because it will start to develop and turn into something that's a little bit more pleasing and also a little bit more unique. Overall, in terms of the smell, it's very, very nice. Again, once you get past the opening, it's a fragrance that is somewhat original, kind of goes a little bit on its own, and it's something that I would love to wear in the fall and winter. Quality is nice too. This one doesn't come across cheap, doesn't come across synthetic. Overall, it smells very well rounded, well blended, and pretty high quality. So let's go and talk about when you can wear Halloween Man X. This is definitely more of a fall and winter fragrance. In terms of when you would wear in the fall and winter, I would say more of an evening out fragrance, just something to wear if you're going out to dinner, if you're going out maybe on a date or just some sort of a situation or type of thing in the evening. This is the one that I would recommend you go with. Really, really great for that. And of course, you could wear it during the day if you wanted to. It's still going to work fine, but this one has more of a warm sweetness to it, a little bit of a powdery and inviting nature to where I think it's better suited for evenings out, maybe a little bit more of a close encounter situation or something along those lines. I think this one's going to be suited for. But it is perfect for this time of the year. If you're wanting to pick up some really solid fall and winter sweet fragrances, this one would be great to go. And again, this one is affordable, coming in anywhere from like $35 to upwards of like $50. But typically I think you can find it around $35 mark, which is really, really solid price. And if you don't want to spend a lot of money and you want to get something that's nice, sweet, powdery, and semi-unique, this is a great one to go with. Really not a bad scent overall, and I'm actually pretty impressed with it. Let's go and talk about the performance on this fragrance. Longevity on my skin, I've been getting on average of about 7 hours. Projection-wise, this one does tend to sit just a little bit closer to my skin, so this isn't a projection monster. It's not like Versace Eros or Invictus in terms of its projection. Those are fragrances that fill a room and are really loud, kind of borderline obnoxious. This one, a little bit more soft, which I don't mind. I like that This one is a little bit more dialed back because you don't always want a fragrance that's going to be loud like that. Sometimes you want something a little bit more reserved, a little bit more refined. This one does that. So it does kind of dial back the performance, more notably the projection, just a little bit, which again isn't a huge deal. And that kind of makes it, more suited for situations where you're going to be a little bit closer to someone, or you just want something a little bit more subtle. But overall, I don't have any issues with the performance. I think it's a really solid performer, especially for the price. When you get fragrances out that are around $35 or so, $35-$40, it can kind of be, hit or miss in terms of the performance. Sometimes, and most of the times, they're not going to last very long, and typically they aren't going to project very much either. But this one really sits, for the most part, within that moderate range of performance, maybe slightly above average, so you don't really have to worry about it too much. It's going to get you through a full day, and it's going to get you noticed. It's also going to have the strength and the depth to push through the cool weather. When it's cold out in the fall and the winter, you want something that's going to have, the power to really push through the air. This one is going to do that. It also has a lot of depth with the DNA, the type of scent that it is, to where it's going to hold up in the cooler weather. So let's go ahead and talk about the compliment factor on this fragrance. This is going to be a pretty solid compliment getter for you. Just like I mentioned earlier, kind of has that Invictus bubblegum DNA type of smell in the opening, which, that type of fragrance is very popular and very mass pleasing. Dries down to something just a little bit different, but still maintains that mass appeal type of DNA. So you're not going to have any issues with this one. For the most part, I don't think you're going to find anyone that's going to dislike this fragrance. It is very pleasant. It is very easygoing. There may be some people who may not like it very much because they don't like sweet fragrances, which this is a sweet fragrance, but for most part out there, people are going to love how this smells on you. It's going to be a great compliment getter. You're not going to have to worry about it. It's not going to be something that smells like a weird niche fragrance or something that's just different. It does still have that mass appealing type of mainstream DNA, but it does start to vary and go off the path just a little bit. Gives it just a little bit of a unique touch to where I think this one is worth picking up, but also still maintains that mass appeal DNA to where you don't really have to worry about it. And that's very important when it comes to buying fragrances like this. You want something that's going to smell good to those around you, but in a lot of cases you also want something that's going to be a little bit more unique and something that makes it worth purchasing, and this fragrance checks both of those boxes. So we're going to go ahead and start to wrap this one up. Do I think this one is worth picking up overall? I would say yes, absolutely. I think this is a great scent. Again, it varies enough from those other mainstream fragrances to where it's worth picking up even if you do own fragrances like Invictus, like Versace Eros. It's still worth picking this one up. And even if you don't like those fragrances I mentioned, those bubblegum type fragrances, I still think potentially this one would be worth trying, because I do think there is something special about this one. I do think it goes in somewhat of a unique direction, and it just has a little bit something different to offer. So I do recommend sample it first. I would still recommend you try to sample it first if you can. I'll link to it down below if I can find a sample of it from someone who offers it. If not, you may have to try to check it out somewhere. And if you feel like taking a risk, sure, you can blind buy it if you wanted to. And typically, if you're into sweet fragrances for men, you're probably going to like this one. But I do think it's a great pickup for the fall and winter, especially at a really nice price. Again, if you're looking to build up your cooler weather fragrance collection and you don't have too much money to spend, highly recommend you check this one out. This is a great one here. Really happy with this release. Do I regret picking this one up? No, I don't. I'm really happy to have this one in my collection, and I'm really excited to wear it more. I think this is a great release, and definitely something just a little bit different. So guys, that's pretty much it for this review. That is my full thoughts on Halloween Man X. If you guys have tried this fragrance, let me know what you think of it down below. And again, if there's any other fragrances from this line or from this house that I should try, or that you want to see me review and feature in videos on the channel, leave those down below as well. And that's going to do it, guys. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this video helped you out. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any other video ideas or requests, let me know down below. I'm always curious to hear your guys' video ideas. If you want to see something specific, some sort of specific fragrance review, some sort of specific list video, always appreciate hearing that in the comments. So that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, turn on notifications, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Take care.